All right. And let's get to it. We're going to do our first opening poll. Oh, here comes Richard Hart too. Great. And so for that, we have a Mentimeter poll. So if you've never Mentied before, I'm going to say that's now a verb. Go to menti.com, menti.com. Use this code 74776476. And I think if I do, wait, let me just do present. And I'm going to copy this. Wait, click the copy voting link. And one more time. All right. I'm going to put this link in the chat as well. All right. What are the best snacks for an SEM workshop? Or not everyone does SEM workshops. Many of you are facilitators at workshops and so on. That's part of your job. Many of you aren't. You're evaluators, you're program designers, you're managers of people that do these things. So how do you motivate yourself at your desk if you're not in the business of doing workshops? All right, we're getting some good ones coming in here. This is really nice. All right. Blue Star Donuts. We got a Portland person there. Those are really good. Bell peppers. Okay, who's the healthy person?
I thought assorted nuts were the people that show up.
Oh, like yeah. Oh, you're saying you give those? I mean, maybe like, yeah, what would you buy ahead of time and provide for folks and to motivate them to want to come back? Not that bell peppers wouldn't motivate them to come back. Beer, that yeah, could motivate them, perhaps. Lots of donuts. Donuts are kind of I wouldn't say the runaway. Ooh, tots. Tots definitely. Wendy, what are you liking on this list here?
There was a question about what an ocean roll is, and it's like a cinnamon roll, but it's cardamom as opposed to cinnamon with maybe less frosting on the top. It was invented by a bakery in Bend, Oregon that then migrated to Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
So you have to like cardamom to like them, which I do.
If you've been to Scandinavia, a lot of pastry shops in Stockholm, I know, have those rolls. So not to say that Sparrow Bakery, they didn't invent them. I would say they invented them in America, but you can also get them in other places, in other countries, perhaps. They're delicious.
I also really appreciate the person who said sandwich party. It's not just a sandwich, it's a party. And I think that's important.
For sure.
It's a sandwich party.
Gummy anything and everything. Yes. Nuts. Yeah. Oh, we get a double up on the ocean rolls. Pistachio shelled. Well, yeah.
I love the shelled nut because it's like a fidget tool at the same time. When I get really tired from meetings, I'll turn off my screen and lift weights. And I feel like the shelled nuts is a good idea too.
That's outstanding. Yeah. Okay. Now I was wondering about if there's going to be what gummy anything and everything meant, what that meant. Apparently it means the bottom left here means could mean something else, depending on which state or province you're in. What is
serving pistachios? Their SEM program's doing well.
Yeah. Is that a leading indicator? Pistachios are a leading indicator of program performance.
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's fair. Okay, this is great. I'm going to stop sharing and get to the slides, but we will keep this open. So don't close. If you, whatever browser you have on your phone or whatever else you use to enter information, we'll be doing many other polls. So, oops, wait. I'm just, sorry, share screen again. Back to my slide deck though. All right. Great. Well, welcome. We've got a number of things to catch up with you on. Feel free to chat us and keep your cams on, keep you engaged. It's gonna be fun. The correct answer for the best snack is from Trader Joe's. Yeah, Greg, are you familiar with the Snacky Cluster?
Oh my God, they're so addictive and they're all over the place at my house.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I went to Trader Joe's for the first time in my life 2 days ago.
What?
Oh
and I got something that looks kind of like that, and now my kids are refusing to try it.
Yeah, Yeah. Okay. See,
I'll
okay.
send them over my way. I'll take them.
All right. Again, lots of pro tips here for everybody. If you get a chance, I think you can order these online, Trader Joe's snacky clusters. I'm pretty sure you will not regret that purchase. Okay,
Except if we're in
so
Canada where we don't have Trader Joe's, so I'm getting really offended by this discussion.
well, to your point, John, we had some workshops in BC a few weeks ago. Kristen Ige, which I think I saw Kristen here on this call as well. She and I were up there, and we took a bunch of Trader Joe's snacks as a gesture, kind of ambassadors, I guess I'd say. Yeah, we definitely made lots of friends in every workshop, and it was quite nice. So it can be, these can be olive branches, I guess. Yeah, they can be a very positive thing. Well, lots of things we'll hit here today, and lots of opportunities to get your input on things. So first of all, we'll hit collaborative events. There are lots of things happening event-wise this year. Diana and Laura are the co-leads for the events team, and then Wendy and I support them. And then we also have a liaison, I guess I'd say, with Kelsey Lewis from Snohomish PUD for the Northwest events, and she also again kind of crosses over with us. So I definitely want to shout out that group. We met here a little over a month ago or so to plan out the year and have some pretty cool plans. In that, though, we have a number of trends. So first of all, we'll be having more integration of the working groups from the Northwest that have been part of the Northwest Collaborative into the different collaborative events. We'll have more integration, continued integration of the research work into that as well. For our QMRs, quarterly member roundtables, we'll be adding more engagement, more content for the members, and so you'll see some of that just there in a moment. We're also looking at all the events as kind of an arc for the year, and how those kind of lead up to and then back out of the SCM Summit. So it's kind of the key cornerstone event of the year. And so again, you should see some of that, and again, more continuity, I guess I'd say, across those is definitely one of our goals. The SCM Summit, which I'll go into greater detail in a minute here, we'll see that as kind of in addition to many other things, this will be the forum where we'll be able to celebrate the SCM successes. So in the past, we have done that at our last webinar of the year in December, and we decided it'd be a lot more fun to do it in person. So that's the vision there. And then lastly, the Northwest Fall Workshop, which is the Northwest SCM Collaborative has conducted for 12 years, I think 13 or so iterations of it, give or take one or two. That as an event, as these two organizations integrate together, that the process of how that's facilitated, and perhaps other regional workshops in other parts of the U.S. and Canada, that'll all be brought together and streamlined into kind of into one vision. So those are high-level trends. As far as a quick overview of events, so this is a picture from last year's SCM Summit in Detroit. I think at this point, Wendy was kind of like
what was I doing?
I think it was like a religious experience at this point.
It does appear to be slightly religious in nature.
Yeah, the SCM religion that we were trying to get converts to come into. But yeah,
I think you were asking us what color our cars were.
Oh, probably.
This could have been it. Yeah, right. I think this was right, which was a very fun, as Anna called it. That was a very fun activity, asking people what their make and model of car were, and then we lined people up based upon those models of cars. It was a good time. Yeah, we had some fun responses on that. But for the webinar this year, so call out each one of these rows as different events of the year. Of course, here we are today. Next month, we will have our first quarterly member roundtable, or QMR. In addition to having a number of things people will be involved on, like you said, we're having more content. So we'll be having measuring program health beyond kilowatt hours as the core topic there. We'll also be voting on the webinar topics for the rest of the year. Again, this is a benefit of the being a member. And so then they'll decide on those topics. Will be presented in April, May, those 2 webinars. The next then QMR will be in June 13th. The content topic there will be storytelling, how to integrate better storytelling into all of your work. And it can be make your workshops more powerful. It can make your recruiting more powerful. It can make how you engage employees and so on, or occupants within your programs more powerful. Storytelling is an amazing topic and skill to get into. Well, the webinar kind of leading up into the SCM Summit. The summit itself, August 5th, in person. I'll give more information on that in the slide here. We have a QMR kind of wrapping up the summit, and then another webinar and QMR to wrap up the year. So that's the arc of the year. And those are North American-wide events. We also do have regional events. And so the Northwest SCM Collaborative, like I mentioned before, has conducted their fall workshop for years and years, and it's been a very successful and engaging event, including this last October in Portland. This year, it'll be returning to Seattle for the first time since its inaugural fall workshop. And it wasn't even in the fall then, it was in spring, back in 2012. So they'll be happening this October, which is really exciting. And then I know Greg has been convening a number of folks in the Northeast to potentially do some type of meeting. Greg, is that, I'm not to put you on the spot.
Well done, Chad. I just made a note. I better organize a workshop. But anyone else on the call who wants to join the Northeast working group, give me a shout out and I'll include you.
Outstanding. Well, we're definitely here to support and help the entire group, to make that happen. And we're excited because definitely Greg and Northeast have done many successful events in the past, and we're excited for those opportunities to engage all of you, and both, again, North American wide as well as kind of within your own regions. So exciting stuff. The SCM Summit, like I mentioned before, so that this year will be and like it has been for the even years, at the Building Summer Study, which is always in Pacific Grove, California, which is just right outside of Monterey, which is just outside of Santa Cruz, which is just outside of the Bay Area. So it is Monday, August 5th. And so if you're looking for some travel, vision and how to do it, I would suggest flying or somehow getting there on Sunday, August 4th. And so then you could be there ready to go that Monday afternoon. It's possible you could fly, I guess, that morning, Monday morning. So it will be, again, an afternoon kickoff. But I would suggest it's a beautiful, beautiful corner of the US of A. So if you can come early, you can tour around Carmel and Big Sur and Santa Cruz and so many amazingly beautiful spots that are right there. And then through the rest of the week is the rest of the summer study. And so if you have not attended that before, I think you're usually around 13 or so panels, panel series. And so covering literally hundreds of papers on all kinds of things, on things like building technologies, equity, program innovations, decarb, you name it, and so many more. So it's amazing content in and of itself. The SCM Summit is wonderful. This picture, you see Wendy and me, and again, there's so many professionals that I zoom in. I can call out, I think, Anna, no, that's Faith. DeVolt, but yeah, a number of other folks who were there now almost 2 years ago, and it's an amazing place, an amazing way to connect with each other in person, and again continue to kind of push the work forward again, like we said, to this kind of arc of what we've been working on as a group.
Real quick, Chad, I don't think you mentioned it, but for those that are new to the summer study for buildings, this is mostly commercial focused, and then next year they have an industrial focus. So if you're new to SEM or the energy efficiency space, ACEEE switches off every other year. The commercial buildings is always in Pacific Grove, and Pam put a really hot tip, actually cold tip, in the chat, which is that it's California and it's the summer, but it will be cold and foggy. So make sure to bring lots of layers when you go.
That's great. Yeah, very like I've seen from the chat here. Yeah, some casual. It's a relatively casual environment. So yeah, you're not seeing people wearing suits at that event. And they're definitely are dressed warmly or have a jacket at the ready. Yeah, and to that point, to your point, it's a great one, which is if you are more industrial focused and it's kind of too late already to make the plan, or it's just not within your commercial this meeting at a more commercial focused conference is not in the cards for you, start making the case right now to attend the industrial summer study next year, 2025, and I'm about 99.9% sure it's going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina. So plan to be there, and I'm excited. I've never been to the Carolinas. I don't know where I've been, but not there. So looking forward to checking that out. And again, I think usually like abstracts for the conference itself would be do this next fall. And again, however your organization goes about making plans to to budget for and attend conferences, whatever we can do to help you to join, let us know. All right. So with that, back to the polls. I said before, we got some more polls to come. So the last question was, what are the best snacks for an SEM workshop? This one is, we got a couple questions about collaborative events. What should we keep doing? And then one after this will be, what should we do that we're not doing? So this question, your Mentimeter poll should have updated, and I'm gonna get the link from up here.
Anna, you lit a fire inside of a room to stay warm?
There were fireplaces. It was a sanctioned fire.
Okay, I was like, that feels.
Sorry, you're right. Like a fire you're allowed to set in California, just like not many.
Thank you for.
Yeah, my bad.
There was a wildfire.
We do follow fire codes. So yeah, it is.
Yeah, but we really ruined the indoor air quality in that building.
Right. And also related to fires, though, and I'm sure, Anna, you may have experienced this as well. They do have bonfires usually every evening on the beach. The beach is like 200 yards from the conference venue. Anna, did you make it down there to any one of the bonfires?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go to bed before 3 a.m. except for the very first night. I remember I went for a run the next morning and Wendy was like, wow, running at ACEEE, how unusual. And then the next day I learned why that was so unusual. 3 in the morning, session start early.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an SEM party, an energy efficiency party, and it's amazing content. Frankly, the content, I know from being a panel leader, the number of abstracts that come in that don't make it. And by the way, too, if you submitted an abstract and it didn't get in, it's not because you're in any way a non-performer. It is a very, very elite, I guess I'd say. And don't give up and keep on trying and working on your abstracts. And then know then too, if you tend as a participant, you're going to see some really interesting stuff, really amazing papers, really amazing presentations. So yeah, great content. Okay, so the question we had again was collaborative events. What should we keep doing? And so people are calling out the polls. Yeah, great. SEM Summits, awesome.
I'll do a plug here. One of them says regional work groups. And so there's Northwest Regional Collective and there's a Northeast. But if anybody on this call is from someplace else and they want to consider doing regional events, please reach out to us and let us know because we're here to help you. So we're working to create more regional interest and also support regional specific activities. So we'd love to hear from you if you are interested in that.
That's great. That's awesome. Working with, that's got to be a typo. Is that Canifa? Is that a thing? Does anyone, or is that Canada? Does anyone know?
What the heck is called Canada?
Yeah, please correct us, whoever typed that in, if that is not Canifa.
Is it cannabis or Canada?
Yeah, right. Yeah. This is a interesting webinar. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so let's go to the next poll then. So should update. What should we change or add in to how we do our events? Think about other forums, groups you've been in. association, some conference you attended that was completely unrelated to energy, or you get some ideas you've seen or deployed yourself or heard about. Yeah, what should we change? More stories about snacks. Wow, people are really not typing things in yet. Okay, here we go. Okay. Whew. Share the results more. Mentee feedback or whiteboard discussions. Nice. Usually we send the results out. The mentee polls, I usually put those in as a slide within the whole slide deck. In addition, also put a link to the webinar recording also in the slide deck, and then that all gets emailed out in a PDF of the deck. So we try to put that in there. It's often though, it's a lot of content, so maybe it's overwhelming. Or if you haven't seen it before, or if I've been thinking I've been sending it out and actually did not hit send.
Ocean rolls.
Yeah, okay, so things to change. Add ocean rolls or at least virtual. Okay, Wendy, we need to figure out how to bring them to
There will be ocean rolls at the SAM Summit. I have no idea how.
yes. Well, if we cruise down on Sunday, then it would be a day old, but it could be still good. SAM engagement with electrical utilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one says don't change, but just add things. Just let us know what you want us to add. Or if you have an idea of what else you'd want us to add, let us know.
Yeah. A breakout for utility folks. I like that. Yeah, that's great. Maybe like breakout for like program administrators versus implementers versus like evaluators or whatever. We can figure out ways to kind of break those people apart. More customer voices.
At one of the first SEM summits, we actually did have a customer come and talk. It was the one in Portland. So it would have been maybe 2018, 2019. One of the issues I think we've had with customer voices, at least at the summit, is that it's hard to get them to come.
I'm in a meeting.
Great idea for
I actually was just like, I'm hungry.
Thanks, Katie.
Sorry,
Wendy, go ahead.
I was just saying that if anybody has any ideas for how to get customers to the SEM Summit, which is where we've done them before, that would be great. Or maybe if you have a program that's going to be in an area where the SEM Summit is going to be, that would be great. And I think it's a good idea too for the webinars and QMRs.
Yeah, I think Mike Stowe is on the call. Maybe Mike can get a customer down at the ACEEE next year.
Oh, great.
Yes, Mike, you have a task.
Sorry, I called you out, Mike.
I know. In addition to being awesome in general and involved in so many different things.
I should be able to do that,
Nice.
Greg. I know quite a few customers here in North Carolina, so maybe we can do that.
Oh, awesome.
That's wonderful.
And utilities.
SEM peer-to-peer coaching. I think would that be like coaching between one coach to another?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like some kind of pairing up of either mentor or peer coach across organizations possibly.
I was to that point, and it's Reese, right? You pronounce Reese? Yeah. Doing like everyone brings like Greg and everyone, Nick and DL, like other folks, everyone brings like their favorite one slide that kind of has like their one kind of creative pitch they've developed. And we all just like share them all together, and everyone like try, well, here's the one slide I do, or here's the thing I do. I draw this thing on a whiteboard to explain SEM what it's about. And we all just like, everyone brings the one thing. And we all just like have this big fun share out.
One thing I see here is rotate leadership of the call to get different perspectives. And thank you for saying that. Both Chad and I have been doing a lot of work with these events. But with bringing on Diana and Laura and Kelsey even, you are going to start hearing more voices. So we've divvied up the events throughout the year. So it'll definitely start getting a little more spicy from that perspective.
Yeah, spicy.
Spicy. That sounds like some.
Yeah, it's probably the key.
It's already good. It's already nicely seasoned.
Just a little more salt, a little more pepper.
Yeah, a little cardamom. Definitely more cardamom this year. Great. Okay, well, let's go back then. Thank you for your responses on that. Working groups.
Oh,
Yeah, Pam has been leading the charge to integrate working groups in, and Pam, I do have like one slide that kind of talks a little about the integration and the current groups, and you've done some outreach to
yeah,
North American members and so
yeah.
on. Yeah,
And we've gotten feedback on North American members that want to join these groups. I think we've gotten feedback from about 15 people, so that's great. Lots of people want to be involved in lots of these work groups, so I'll be sending names off to the chairs of each of these groups today or tomorrow, very soon. Yeah, so folks will be invited. It's not too late to respond to the survey that I sent out to members. If you didn't get that and you'd like to be part of a work group, I think everybody's welcome for 2024 as we figure out if it's a member benefit or not. So I'll put my email in the chat, and if you want to receive the poll on work groups, go ahead and send that to me.
That's great. I know, how to say this the right way. A lot of the active people in the North American Collaborative are from the Northwest, or it's a pretty big region, if you will, for the North American Collaborative. And then a lot of folks that have come from that group or from that region have been active in the Northwest, have been active in those working groups, and or continue to be active in them. I would say for the rest of you that have not, you're like, what working groups? Taking more time, or what all those other things. You probably have more questions than answers about, okay, what do these mean? What are the commitment levels, and what is the value I get out of this? I would just say in general, and again, please, Pam, or frankly anyone, jump in on this. They're wonderful, and picking something that you're either excited about, that you would want to kind of pick at perhaps and learn from other people that are doing it, or a thing you've got an idea on, or a big challenge. You're like, I think there's a big issue in SEM in schools, and I'd love to figure out what they're talking about, and maybe there's space for my problem for them to address that there. But it's definitely, I would encourage everyone to kind of jump in feet first and pick one and get into it. They're a lot of fun. Is there anything else, Pam, you'd suggest? And again, you've been very active in working groups over the years yourself.
Yeah, I have, and yeah, they're fun, and you can be as involved as you'd like. You don't need to commit yourself to a huge body of work, but if you'd like input and are interested in the topic, check them out. Nice.
Well, again, we're going to go back to the polls. So the next question is related to working groups. If you participated in Northwest-based working groups in the past, and you could be from, by the way, some people from other regions have participated in Northwest-based groups. What could be done to make them, or the model of how they are done, to make or the topics, whatever, to make it more valuable to you? And again, I see so many people here that I know have been active over the years. Yeah, folks like Renee or Dave Hall, or all kinds of folks. Too many people to count. So yeah, what are your thoughts?
Pam, maybe you can answer this question. Renee is asking if there are any working groups specifically talking about SEM and decarbonization.
Yes, indeed. We're going to be starting that up very soon. And Renee, did you respond to my poll? I don't see your name there.
I might have missed it if I came through, but we're also a little tardy on our membership getting that started. So
okay,
that's probably why.
That might be why. Do you want to just send me your email address? I put my email in the chat, so send that to me and I'll get you invited to that group.
Will do. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and to one point, and Renee and Pam's exchange there, working groups are a membership benefit, so you have to be a member.
It's a little tricky,
or,
Chad, because for North American, it's listed as a member benefit, but for Northwest, it's open to everybody. So we're talking, so in 2025, it's probably going to be a member benefit, but for 2024, we might have kind of a medium mode
a
where,
transition.
yeah.
and to that point, then, or I think one other thing too, then again, like Renee kind of said it quickly, which is maybe that's also why she didn't get a message about it. So if you're wondering,
That is why I sent it to those who have signed up for 2024.
Yeah. So again, if you're wondering, you're like, I haven't seen this. What is this about? Then it's possible you're not a member, yet. And again, just reach out to us, and we can chat with you about membership and about, like Pam said, this is a transition year, so we can figure out how to get you involved and what that could look like. Okay, these are great. The other question, which is, so the other one was, what would you change? And then this one is more about what did you appreciate in the work if you have participated in those working groups? What did you enjoy or gain value out of?
Well, people are responding to that. One of the comments previously was update on progress and results. And the Northwest Fall Workshop has always been a great time to hear what's happening in the working groups. And as we move forward, integrating the working groups a little bit more with the North American SEM Collaborative, we've worked to integrate them into the webinars and also the SEM Summit. So you'll be able to hear more about them if you're not specifically located in the Northwest.
Great. Perfect. Yeah, a chance to connect with those who play different roles in the SEM ecosystem, working with other enthusiastic people. Twice? Whoa. Okay, yeah, it was so big. It was a big one. Getting to know others, brainstorming different perspectives. Yeah, I think it's fun. It's fun. It's different. I was involved in the M&V working group a number of years ago, and we a number of us at the time, we had a little pet project that we wanted to kind of work through and figure out, and it was just really fun to kind of work on something that's related to our work, but different. And again, to work with really really smart people and passionate people about whatever the topic is. Great. Okay. We'll keep this poll open and go to the topic on research. So Holly Farah and Jonah Eisen are leading our research efforts. And I would say too that the research that's been done over the years has been really some high value things, some efforts led or how would I say are sponsored by the U.S. Department of Energy with support from LBNL, things supported by ACEEE, all kinds of really great stuff. And so some of it's coordinating that research with folks like I saw Walker here from CEE, and so kind of coordinating the different research and different kinds of initiatives and efforts together with other organizations. It's neat. And again, something that can be kind of paid for and kind of managed as a dedicated effort versus working groups are often kind of done on the side, if you will, of your other work. And so it can definitely be a nice complement to the overall mission and work of the collaborative. So let's see, we'll go back to the poll and talk about research. I have two questions for you. This first one is, what is the biggest challenge in SEM? Could be anything. Could be lack of snacks, lack of cardamom. The next question will be, after this one will be, what is the biggest challenge in SEM? The next one will be, what is the biggest challenge that SEM can help address? And these are just, again, some good poll questions that we can feed back to the research team that could influence where they're going, where they're thinking. Biggest challenges. I like these. M&V. Recruitment. Yeah, we had our webinar 4 months ago, and it was a lot of fun. Went into a lot of the different challenges of recruiting and broke down all kinds of things about messaging and marketing funnels and market adoption curves and all other aspects of when you're recruiting for cohorts for a program, whatever your program design looks like. What would have happened without SEM? What would have happened? WWHH. Nice. Learning something new every day, folks. Workforce development. Man, that is so neat and changing so quickly and evolving, and new opportunities coming out in workforce development. That's great. Any other challenges before we go to the next poll? NMAC, this is for you non-Californians. Wait. Sorry, now I can't spell it. Or I can't say it. What is NMAC, folks? Someone just
Normalized metered energy consumption.
Right. Normalized. Okay. Yeah.
At the ready.
And it was like, right. I could have like shaken Anna awake in the middle of the night. She still would have spouted off what NMAC stands for. All right. Then the next question then, to keep the things rolling. What is the biggest challenge that SEM can help solve? So it could be things outside of our program landscape, or it could be things within our world of like maybe like utility or agency kind of based SEM programs. Could be other things again beyond energy efficiency or energy savings. Decarb, yes. SEC compliance. Is this related to SEC compliance? Would this be related to carbon accounting? Anyone have? Can someone say what that is? Okay. If you want to put it in chat, that'd be great. Identifying and reducing energy related GHG emissions, decarb. Again, there's workforce again. Yep. Yeah, for those who are getting into electrification and decarb, it is expensive, often far more expensive in a very different kinds of ways than what we usually target in our SEM programs. This way to manage carbon, this manage energy, carbon tax exposure. Yeah, program participation from large industrials, helping other capital. Yeah. This is great. Okay. We'll keep this poll going. All right, the next, next topic. Our high-level thoughts by our own chair, Anna Kelly. So with that, and I have a couple of points here, but.
Oh, yeah, I could have had slides, but I didn't want to have slides.
That's great.
I don't want to have slides. I have a bunch of words.
I'm gonna stop sharing.
You know, yeah, we don't, yeah, I'm just gonna talk it, y'all. Because what if you want to talk about things that aren't on the slides and we interrupt and we have to talk about that instead? So first things first, y'all did a great job nominating your friends and your colleagues and yourselves to be members of the leadership team. We had such a response that we are triaging them and collecting additional data. Never before have I seen such an overwhelming response to a nomination for leadership team for the SEM Collaborative. We have so many, in fact, I think it would take us 4 years to get that many people through the rotation to fill the seats. So thank you. Many of the people in this room have been reached out to asking for more information about your nomination, your interest. And we are hoping to have like preliminary ballots finalized and like triaged by the end of the month. And we'll be able to onboard our new leadership team members and offboard our retiring leadership team members and start onboarding them. And that's something that I also wanted to mention from like a really high level, is that the North American, we are a loose group of people that are seeking to get some benefits by being together engaged in a collaborative. But those of us on the leadership team are also bound by this charter and also by bylaws that say how we're supposed to be interacting with you guys and what it means to really be an organization. So one of the things that we owe you and that we'll be doing this year is updating the bylaws. According to the bylaws, we have to have them updated by May. So it is time, for the first time since inception, for us to re-update and refinalize the bylaws for the North American. This is especially prudent because if some of you remember, the North American is going to be taking over the administration of the Northwest Collaborative. And as people, as you saw in the what do you want more of, are looking for more regional events, kind of transitioning to give you all of the benefits you currently receive, but also moving into a position where we are kind of a mothership overseeing chapters of the collaborative. And so with part of that, we'll be editing the bylaws and we'll be sending out some changes for approval in May for all of you. And one thing that I have learned in my lovely opportunities to serve on boards like this and leadership teams like this is that people can get overwhelmed by bylaws pretty easily. We haven't scheduled anything yet, but I am happy to host an overview of the bylaws and how to interpret some of that language. There are 12 articles in our bylaws. Each one has something different and bindings, talking about like what we owe you, and then what our obligations are, like how you know if that's working, what everybody's roles are. The bylaws also mention who your leadership teams are, what committees we have, and that kind of information. And just one of the things to be aware of when that comes out, we're going to try to make that a little bit looser so that we can decide on an annual basis as a collaborative what we need rather than having that prescribed. So just an update for that. By May, that'll be finished. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the mothership model that we'll be transitioning to, where we have, you know, chapters. We've got the Northeast folks getting together and having some beers and being like, yeah, that was a chapter event. And we have the Northwest folks getting together and having some beers and doing research because it's the Northwest and being like, yeah, that was a chapter event. And then the other people like Ontario, you know, and we'll get there, right? We'll scale, we'll promote SEM all over the country and we'll have lots of chapters eventually. But part of that means that we have a new leadership team position. John Feldman is leading our executive committee, which means he's putting together the chapter recommendation model. We have been interviewing different organizations in our industry that have chapters and kind of that mothership model to try to create something that's going to work for the Northwest really, really well and respect all of the lovely work that we are all, you know, standing on top of now. Like we've been elevated by that, so we're going to use it all. And also make sure that we can allow other chapters to kind of follow in the footsteps of the Northwest and have this all work out. With that, with kind of the transition to that administration, we are going to be having an in-person work session between the leadership teams of the North American and the Northwest collaboratives in a couple of months to kind of iron out the rest of the details and make sure that everybody's comfortable. And the chair of the Northwest, Kathleen Belchayat, and I are going to be finalizing the transition plan soon that we'll be able to share with everyone. And we'll also be sharing and circulating kind of a memo detailing what ACEE's role is in all of this. Many of you, if you go to like the North American Strategic Energy Management Collaborative's website, will notice that that's ACEE's website. And so just kind of like clarifying who is everybody in this process and what are they going to be doing going forward to make sure that we all understand who everybody is and what everybody's roles are. I also wanted to talk about member benefits a little bit. If you look at your member benefits table on the website, one of the things you'll see is newsletters at the top. And although we are a couple of months away from the newsletter release, it is a collaborative process and it is not something that we can do without you. So over the next couple of months, we are going to be recruiting for some of that information that you mentioned that you wanted more of. Case studies, stories of unique SEM deployments, non-utility SEM structures, and also tales from the field. Like, what is your weirdest SEM deployment story? And then my new favorite column, we've had an independent third-party evaluator who would like to remain anonymous, volunteer to serve as kind of a Miss Manners, if you know the column, of SEM evaluation. So you'll be able to submit your eval questions and some of them will be selected for publication in the newsletter with a like, here's how to handle that sticky situation, Miss Manners style from our wish to remain anonymous, highly regarded third-party evaluator who may or may not be in this room. So just be ready for that. The newsletter is one of our favorite things to put together every year, and whoever is on our leadership team will be really helping with that because that's part of being the communications lead, which someone has got to do. Then I also wanted to mention decarbonization. So it's come up a couple of times in this call already. Obviously, that's something we are all thinking about. I wanted to let you guys know that the International Standards Organization Technical Advisory Committee for Energy Management is working on a decarbonization standard and has representatives from the SEM community in the room thinking about that, thinking about how compliance would work for SEM, and also that the Consortium for Energy Efficiency, CEE, is having a meeting tomorrow with their members to talk about decarbonization in SEM. We are going to be able to receive an update from them and also some more information about how to have some more cross-organization collaboration between organizations like CEE and North American to make sure that we're not doing double work, especially when that decarb working group gets fully launched. And then the last high-level thing I wanted to mention, yeah, ISO 53, is SEMHub. So somebody mentioned earlier, like, why don't we post stuff on SEMHub? Well, the SEMHub, as of today, is a Northwest resource. However, ACEEE, the administrator for the North American, and NEA, the administrator for the Northwest, have been working to put together kind of the accountability matrix to get all of the components of the SEM hub, including the actual SEM hub, transitioned from the Northwest asset to becoming a North American asset. And so although we don't have like a contract drawn up yet for that, we have, I think, the components, we know what the labor will be, we know how much it's gonna cost, and we now have the right people in the room to talk about how to finalize turning that into a resource that the entire SEM community has access to, and we'll be able to transition a lot of the North American content onto. And that is high level from the collaborative.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy
Anna
smokes.
Kelly, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. And you know, again, we talk about the intent of this webinar was to kind of catch up and kind of like and really like lay out the vision for the year. And of course, and Anna coming in and just like laying it all out from a very high level and you know, kind of overall on where we're going and what the intent is and what kind of the guiding thoughts behind everything. And so a huge shout out. Anna's really rolled up her sleeves in the last few months since she's stepped into the chair role and to really get in there and work on so many things and how to elevate the organization and what all we can do and how we're organized to be most successful. So again, okay, Anna, you can listen again to my pandering, but yeah, really great stuff. Okay, so last question then. I would like you all to please close your eyes and imagine that it's December 31st, 2024. What would you want to be able to say about your year in SEM? What would you have accomplished? What would you have figured out? And so if you open your eyes, we should have an updated Mentimeter poll. You can respond to and answer that question. It's December 31st. What do you want to say about this year? It'd be one annoying thing you really want to solve for or figure out or just get started talking about, or it's one big event you want to really deliver on, or well, yeah, what would that look like? All right. Wow, here we go. Develop further in the art of coaching, helping the sites build their skills and find the resources to meet their energy management goals. I'll call on some folks here. Diana, what do you see up here that you like, that you think is interesting?
I just put my own. help with strategies for keeping alumni participants engaged. So anywhere year 3 and beyond. But another one that I see is success case stories are that are being shared. That's been on a list of mine for a while to have a good list of case studies that are shared amongst the group.
That's great. You'd have a slight echo, or you're talking to us from the future. It's one of those two things, by the way. But I just did. But yeah, we do. Yeah, those are great call outs. Pam, what any of the ones you see here that you think are interesting in addition?
I saw one at the top that said something like SEM, our customers are clamoring to join our SEM programs.
Yeah.
I like that because we need to figure out how to reach more people. We're offering something amazing to them, and it's hard to get there.
Yeah. Greg Baker, any of these that look compelling, interesting to you?
Specifically as a coach, that, you know, the customers you're working with are really grabbing hold, understanding commitment and engagement, and working towards their own energy goals at their facilities. I mean, that's really satisfying to look back and they've kind of taken the bait and rolled with it.
Right.
Plus the Northeast working group is fully engaged, and we're really building more SEM engagement in the Northeast. That's what I'm really looking for.
Yeah, there it is. Awesome. All right. Well, these are good. If you did not put a note in here, think about it yourself of what you would want to accomplish, what either again through the SEM collaborative or through the work in your job and your role, and think again about how collaboration can support that. So we're all here trying to move this whole thing forward, and it's been an amazing ride to date, and looking forward to 2024 being a pivotal and really productive year. So thank you all for your time today and for your involvement over time, and we'll look forward to seeing many of you at upcoming webinars, QMRs, and hopefully in Pacific Grove, California. And with that, we'll close it up. Thank you so much, everyone.
Anybody who doesn't have anything to do the next hour, who's in the Pacific Northwest, I'm about to host a leadership recruitment information session for the Association of Energy Service Professionals Board, which I am not on, but I'm about to give the bylaws training for that at this Zoom address in the chat. If you want to come, and I'll teach you all about what it's like to be a board member of that organization.
Wow.
What?
I'm just helping out. They need more energy. They hadn't had a party in 2 years.
What?
So I was like, this is unacceptable.
Yeah,
I'll host a training and I'll teach people how to throw parties.
Party training.
Yeah. First you have a party, then the mothership sends you money for having had a party. It's great. So anyway, I gotta go do that. Bye y'all.
Take care. Keyword.
See everybody. Thanks. Thanks, Chad, Wendy.
You bet.
Thank
Y'all have a
you.
good one.
Thank
Take
you,
care,
guys.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.